Kons podcast. That like button, subscribe and share. Constant content.
Yeah, what's going on? What's happening? Y'all know what it is. It's episode 137. It's Kons podcast. You know what's happening. If you new here, welcome in. Know what I'm saying? Glad you here. If it's your first time, go on and hit the subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, tell your people about it. You know what I'm saying? Go back and look at something you might like. If you're new here, you know what I mean? You're gonna see daily updates and shit about what's going on in the world. You know, shit that's being done all over. Local news, I'll be touching on hip-hop shit these artists be doing, all shit kind of headlines and all that kind of shit Monday through Friday. Every so often you're gonna get an episode that I write up that ain't got nothing to do with updates or none of that like today's episode. So, and the reason why I'm out of breath is because, you feel me, I had went and, you know, I forgot Mr. Sonic. You feel me? I forgot him. You know what I'm saying? So I had to run and get my young nigga, you feel me? My co-star, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was running and shit. I'm old and I'm out of shape. So yeah, I'm breathing. But yeah, episode 137. What's happening? Welcome in. It's Friday. I hope y'all gonna have a good weekend. I hope you had a good week. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all had a good week leading into the weekend so that you can have a great weekend. You feel me? But first and foremost, I'm happy you stopped by right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy you stopped by right here for this episode. So today's episode, we're going to touch on, let's talk watches. You know what I'm saying? Today we're going to talk watches. You know what I mean? As anybody who knows me, you know what I'm saying? I got a real good passion for them. As you can see, my little watch box sitting next to me. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into some of that, get into my watches and all that shit. I think for the first time on here since I've been propping cameras up and shit, I'm going to actually take that camera off, you know what I'm saying? And show some of these watches and shit, or I'm gonna take the camera off. I ain't gonna bring that box to the camera, none of that. But, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk watches though. So first and foremost, you know what I mean? We're just gonna get into a little bit of history, you know what I'm saying? If we wanna go through in today's episode type shit, just gonna get into a little bit of history of them. We're gonna get into the type of movements, you know what I'm saying? The history, what movement, who invented what, where they come from. We're gonna talk about tourbillons. We're gonna talk about 1801, that date. We're going to touch on Rolexes and different brands and all that type of shit. Brands that I like, brands that I wear. You know what I'm saying? The shit and what a watch mean to me and all that shit. You know, everything about watches. So, yeah, first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? First and foremost, we're going to get to the first watch. First watch ever made was by Peter Heinlein. You know what I'm saying? It was called a Pomander. As you see on the screen, made 1505. This was the first watch ever made. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, it don't even look like a watch. Can't even see no dial or nothing on there. You know what I'm saying? It's like a pendulum style kind of movement, like the spotlights in the watchtowers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They move on like a pendulum system. You know, it's like a pulley system, a weight at the bottom. It's a long rope and it comes down. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it keeps the light turning and shit like that. You know what I mean? You go to like visit like lighthouses and shit like that, wherever you at. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you all about that shit. That's where I learned about that. But that's what type of movement that the first watch was on. You know what I mean? Type of movie it was based on by Peter Heinlein, 1505. You know what I'm saying? Then you got automatics. Automatics is self-winding watches. I got a few in my box here I'm gonna touch on. But automatic watch, you know what I'm saying? That's when you take it, wind it up. It's not on a battery. It's on its own type of mechanism. So you wind that shit up. And certain watches have what you call a power reserve. So that's how long the watch is gonna last. You know what I'm saying? Based off how much it has. You're supposed to wind it until you feel like a little bit of tension or a little bit of it, you know, pushing back against you type shit. That lets you know it's time to stop. Otherwise you can snap the coil. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to wind it too much. You just want to wind it just enough. You know what I'm saying? So that it'll last you throughout the day or a few days or whatnot. But yeah, that's when we go into power reserve. So power reserve is how long that wind is going to last and it's going to keep your watch going. A lot of automatic watches have on the back of them is usually clear and you have what you call a rotor. I can actually show you that. You know what I'm saying? So on the back of an automatic watch, you're going to have what you call a rotor. Let me go to the camera here so I can see what I'm looking at, see if I can get it right on here. So as you can see on the back there, that's a rotor. Every time I turn and rotate, the rotor's going to move the mechanisms so that they can keep going. You can see that. You know what I'm saying? The rotor's gonna turn and it's gonna keep the mechanism going so that so that it'll keep moving. You understand? Based off your movement, as long as you wear it, it should keep on going. You see that? Yeah. That's called a rotor. So that's the rotor that's on automatic watches. You know what I'm saying? Keep the watches moving. As you move, it's gonna keep that mechanism moving. You know what I'm saying? So you don't gotta wind it up. And when you stop and take it off, that's when the power reserve come in. So more expensive watch you get, more power reserve you got. About 30 to 70 hours is about typical, you know what I'm saying, standard automatic power reserve on a regular automatic watch that you buy. You know what I'm saying? About 30 to 70 hours, which is about, about a weekend. They want to say, you know what I'm saying, they want it to last over the weekend. Once you put it off on Friday and you get ready to go to work on Monday, they want that shit to be ticking. You don't got to wind it up too much. So 30 to 70, but the more money you put into a watch, the more power reserve it's gonna have. Because then we're gonna get off into and you got quartz watches, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna come back to that when I touch on tourbillons. But then you got quartz watches. So quartz watches just basically tick tock. You know what I'm saying? It's just basic tick tock. You feel me? Run on a battery. Quartz watches primary source of energy come from a battery. You know what I mean? So most my Invictus I got right here, this is a quartz. So that's a quartz watch. Tick tock. You know what I'm saying? You see that motherfucker tick tock, you feel me? That's what you call quartz. You know what I'm saying? It's run on a battery. These is run on batteries. You know what I'm saying? Its primary energy source is a battery. That's what a quartz watch is. You know what I mean? So most watches out here, when you see them tick tock, they gonna be basically run on battery. The automatic ones is gonna have a motion. You know what I'm saying? It's the second hand is gonna be motioning, like how Rolexes are. So I don't know if you see that, but the second hand is motioning. It's not tick tock. It's motioning. You know what I'm saying? And that's a skeleton dial. We're gonna get into that too. That's a quartz watch. And then we got the power sources from a battery. And we got tourbillon. So tourbillon watches is when you get into the real complexity of the movements. You know what I'm saying? Tourbillon is when the escapement and the balance wheel and the hairspring is all within its own little entrapment. You know what I'm saying? It's all within its own little escapement. You know, it's one. That means it's a bunch of gears that's in one big gear that's making because the tourbillon is gonna spin. It's gonna take a total of a minute. It's gonna rotate in one continuous direction as all the gears is working towards it to keep that tourbillon spinning in one continuous direction. It's gonna take 60 seconds for it to be in one full rotation. You know what I'm saying? That's what you call tourbillon. Tourbillon, which means windmill. You know, that's what that means in German, which is the same type of energy, same type of blueprint that they took from a windmill and applied it to the watch. You know what I'm saying? The watch was first made by Abraham. The movement was actually conceived, it said, by a dude named John Arnold. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put his pick up. As you can see, that's John Arnold. And then it was developed by Abraham Louis Brugot. I'm not sure how to say that, but it's spelled Breguet. So however you feel, you know what I'm saying, you pronounce that Breguet. You know, some Abraham Louis Breguet, he the nigga that developed the tourbillon. You know what I'm saying? He the one that developed that shit, put it into motion. You know what I mean? Patented and all that shit. Conceived, it says, by a dude named John Arnold. So I guess he thought of it or whatnot, and then Breguet had put it into fruition. You know what I'm saying? Actually got on the things and put it all together. Made a pocket watch, you know what I'm saying, with the tourbillon movements. 1801. That's when Breguet had patented the tourbillon movement, 1801. You know what I'm saying? June 26, 1801. That's the tourbillon's birthday. You know what I'm saying? In the watch world, I'm sure everybody in the watch world knows this. You know what I mean? That's tourbillon's birthday. You know what I'm saying? June 26, 1801. Let's see here. Movements. So movements, it's all about the movement. You know what I mean? Movement is what makes the watch. Movement is what makes the complexity in the watch. Movement is what's gonna drive your price up. You know what I'm saying? All different styles of movement. So the ones that I just broke down to you, as far as the automatic, the quartz, and the tourbillon, those are all different kind of movements. Then you have Japanese movements. Then you have Swiss movements. Those are just originated, mostly automatic, and they're originated from that country, you know. Swiss movement is going to be a watch that was made in a Switzerland factory that was encased in the Switzerland. You know what I'm saying? That's Swiss made. Then you have Japanese made brands like Reef Tiger is a Japanese brand. They're made in Japan. So that's what you call Japanese movement. You know what I'm saying? If the watch was manufactured in Japan. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much all that means when it has an origin of country in front of the movement. That just means it was manufactured and made there. You know what I'm saying? Switzerland, Geneva, Switzerland is like the watch motherfucking capital of the fucking world. That's where most and all watches is produced at. It's got the most factories there. You know what I'm saying? You go there, there's watch shit everywhere. You get off the plane. Dude I follow named Nico Leonard. You know what I'm saying? He's like a watch guru. He's the watch guy. He's the watch god. You know what I'm saying? I got a few pics. I throw this pic right here that I took with him at one of the car shows in Monterey. You know what I'm saying? That's Nico Leonard. Yeah, but he's like the watch guy. So he had a video where he went over there, went to Geneva, and right out the airport, I remember seeing, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, damn, that shit dope. I got to see that with my eyes one day type shit, you know, because it's just watch shit everywhere. I mean, right off the airport, it's nothing but hitting you with nothing but advertisement of watches. You feel me? I never seen nothing like it. You know, in the airports out here in the States, you might see like a Rolex or something advertising to you or some shit like that, but you don't see just, you know, Rolex. You see fucking Swatch, Timex, fucking Audemars Piguet, fucking Richard Mille, you know what I'm saying? Invicta, just watch shit everywhere. Geneva, Switzerland, that's the watch capital of the motherfucking globe. You know what I'm saying? Geneva, Switzerland. You feel me? Let's see. Rolex. So a lot of people like Rolex and shit. Rolex is real popular, and you know what I mean? Same story. If you don't really notice, I didn't have to write this down, but just to tell you a little story of Rolex history. You know what I'm saying? Rolex was definitely almost the same shit like Richard Mille. You know, a lot of these Rolex dudes, they take the risk by putting their price out on the complexity of how they make these watches and shit. So basically, dude that started Rolexes, he was like an orphan. You know what I mean? He was like a homeless kid. You know, and then he happened to learn how to make watches and shit like that. You know what I mean? So he started making watches and started in his own watch business, pretty much from nothing, from the ground up, you know what I mean, and put that price tag on it, which was something luxurious, you know, something very high, always been high end, you know what I mean? So that's the little brief type history of how Rolex became. Same shit with Richard Mille. Richard Mille started, I think, in 2012. I think 2012 is when Richard Mille started. Same story. He started making watches, and his first watch, he put $100,000 price tag on it, and he seen, you know, he wanted to make watch for elites, and the elites immediately went to it, you know, and took flight from there. You know what I'm saying? And now, you know, people that's not even into watches have heard of a Richard Mille for sure, based by rappers, and a lot of these artists, they put it in their lyrics. You done heard Richard Mille for sure before, if you're not even into watches. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so Rolex is the only one. When I talked about a tourbillon movement, Rolex is the only watch company that does not make a tourbillon style movement watch. You know what I'm saying? They have no tourbillon watches. They don't make them at all. It was one of them that was servicing online and shit like that a little bit ago, an all black one. I think they was calling it the Rolex Noir or something like that. That's totally bullshit. They don't make tourbillon movements at all. You know what I'm saying? So don't let nobody fool you talking about they got a Rolex and it's a tourbillon. They lying. That watch is fake as fuck. You know what I'm saying? They don't do tourbillon. That's at all. You know what I mean? They do automatic movements. That's it. That's the classic, you know, motion and ticker. You know what I mean? Rolex done, you know what I'm saying? Put that on the map, that classic motion ticker. You know what I mean? That's what they use, the automatics. So different brands and shit, you know what I'm saying? So different brands, I spoke a little bit on, you know what I'm saying? Different brands, the more money you put into it, the better style, definitely, the more complexity the watch is gonna be for sure. You know what I'm saying? The more value it's gonna have and all that kind of shit, the more money you put into this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. Always remember that shit. And watches is always gonna be able to bring you some money for sure. You know what I'm saying? It's like fine wine. They're gonna always value. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go up in value at that. Especially the more money you spend, that means the less pieces it is of such watch. So I think Richard Mille makes, I think, 75 to 100 pieces of like each watch, unless it's like a personal, you know, only made 10, 15 of them type shit. You know what I'm saying? But he makes about, you know, a certain select pieces of his watch, and they fly off the shelf, and then you can't get them. You know what I'm saying? So then once you can't get them, they have what they call an aftermarket value. You know what I'm saying? That's the price that's up on aftermarket, that people that bought it, and they try to make a profit off it. That's what you call aftermarket value. So then that shit goes up and up the more rare it becomes. You know what I'm saying? My favorite motherfucking Richard Mille is a RM47. You feel me? I'm gonna get this shit the whole screen. You know what I'm saying? So if you, this is the RM47 right here. This is my favorite motherfucking watch in the world. This handcrafted. All Richard Mille watches are handcrafted, but this, I was really into this watch, so I really watched all the behind the scenes behind making of this shit. If you look at the dial, as you can see, it's a samurai. Every detail on the samurai's helmet was all handcrafted. It was all carved. Each piece was carved with a little carver. You know what I'm saying? Carving that shit, design on the sword handle, everything. There's two swords behind the samurai head, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's all handcrafted. The movement, tourbillon movement in that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just a dope ass fucking watch to me, and I think that shit just fits me as a person, who I am. I'm into the sword shit. I'm into samurais. I've been into Japanese weapons, Chinese style weapons. I've been into that shit. That's me. Soul Calibur always been one of my top fighting games. If you know what that is, then you understand what I'm talking about when I look at this watch here. This watch is retailed at about over $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the rarity of it. And when it first dropped, it was about 300,000. So that's what I'm talking about, the aftermarket value. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to find a Richard Mille that's under $1 million, because there's so many of them that's just out there around. That was sold after that first 75 or 100 that was made. You know what I'm saying? As far as Richard Mille, let's talk about the finances. So Richard Mille has grossed over a lifetime more money than Rolex has. And Richard Mille only been around, that's saying a lot, because Richard Mille only been around, 2001, I believe. Yeah, 2001, 2012. So one of them dates. But they're not that old. You know what I'm saying? Rolex has been around for, since the 1800s or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And Richard Mille has grossed more money than Rolex over its lifetime. That's a major statement, you know what I'm saying, in the watch world, that, if you like this content and you like this constant content that's been being put out by yours truly, man, go hit that like button, hit subscribe and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Comment too, share this shit on your social platforms and all that type of shit, you feel me? Yeah, do that shit right now. Get back to the video. Consumers is making about Richard Mille, that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? For in the top Rolex as far as grossed money, and you produce way less watches, that's saying something for sure about your product. Another thing, let's see. So talked about my favorite watch brand, obviously Richard Mille, the RM47. Let's get on brands. So Invicta is one of the dopest brands, I think, because they make dope ass watches and they're affordable. You know, you can spend $200-$300 and get you something dope as fuck, put on your wrist. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dial guy. You know what I'm saying? I like dials more than the movement. I like automatic movement. I'm not gonna lie. I like the motion of the second hand rather than the tick-tock. So I guess I like automatic movements and tourbillon movements more so than a quartz. But yeah, you can get anything, all that. You can get all that on Invicta. You know, they make tourbillons, they make you know what I'm saying, they make quartz, they make automatic movements, all that shit, skeleton watches and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? The skeleton dial is like what I showed you on this one here. This is a skeleton, you know what I'm saying? That's a skeleton dial. That's what you call a skeleton dial. That's when you can see through it. You know what I'm saying? You see right through that motherfucker, you feel me? And you see the movements, see the gadgets and all that shit. That's what you call a skeleton dial. I'm a dial guy, you know what I'm saying? I like the face of a watch, you know what I mean? That's what I like. I like, you know what I'm saying, when it's on my wrist, I like for that face to be nice, you know what I'm saying, and all that shit. I like day phases. I'll show you what that is. I'm saying the day phase or day phase, not date. Yeah, but that's mine. You know what I'm saying? Invicta's dope. AP. We got AP. These are just some of the brands, the high brands that's out there that you probably gonna see a lot of rappers and shit wear. AP, Audemars Piguet. They classic watches, the Royal Oak. A lot of these rappers and shit wear the Royal Oak watch. Richard Mille, you know what I'm saying? Richard Mille, Seiko, Timex, you feel me? Fossil. These are all dope brands. Timex, Fossil, Seiko is all gonna be affordable. You know, $400-$500 to get you something brilliant with them. Pagani, like that skeleton I just showed you, that's a Pagani watch. That's a lot of top tier dudes out here who really, the rich guys, they'll love to talk down on Invicta and you know, all these affordable watches because they rocking Rolexes and, you know what I'm saying, Richard Mille. But the thing about a watch is, you know what I'm saying, it's all about you. You know what I mean? It's not really about the society or where people are steering or what other people are wearing. It's all about what you like. That's one thing for sure. That's a rule in the watch world. It's not about a Richard Mille or a Rolex or how much money it is. It's what that watch means to you. You know what I'm saying? It's what you like, how you like the watch, how you like it when you put that motherfucker on, how you feel. You know what I'm saying? It's all about you. It's real personal. watches is real personal. That's another thing, you know what I'm saying? It's real personal, it's real intimate. You know, you only gonna put money into something that you just gonna put on your wrist if you are into that, because it's just gonna be on your wrist and it's only telling the time. That's all it's doing. So you got to be really into something. It got to stand out to you, and it got to mean something to you. You know what I'm saying? All my watches mean something. You know what I'm saying? All my watches mean something to me for sure. And I remember the time of when I bought them and why I bought them. You know what I mean? All of them. So it's all about you and what you like. Don't let the world, you know what I'm saying, direct you to saving up $20K for a Rolex or saving up $400,000 for a Richard Mille or something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't let the world direct you to that. A watch is all about what you like. You know what I mean? Because they have watches for all ages. That'll tell you it's about what you like. You know what I mean? So you could be a child, you know what I'm saying? And you could be more geared towards a Sonic watch, you know what I'm saying? But that's what you would like if you are a child at 10, 11, 12 years old, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, it's all about what you like. I'll show you some watches that I got that I like that some the world may not like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, they all mean something to me. Materials is another thing. So the more expensive, the more money you spend on the watch, the better the material is gonna be. So if we talking titanium, meteorite, diamond, rubies, you know what I'm saying? All these is different materials that's used, and the more money you put into a watch, you know. Then you have crystal, you know what I'm saying, which is a lot of what are the dial faces on the more expensive watches. The dial face is gonna be all crystal, because crystal is like considered like, you know, scratch proof type shit, you know, type material, you know what I mean, to put on the watch face. That's another thing. Watches durability. That's what the tourbillon was made for, also to sustain, you know what I mean, to resist movement, to resist, you know, jumps, or, you know, that's what Richard Mille specializes in. Richard Mille is a racing fan, so he based that on how he produces his watches. So he wants his watch to be able to sustain through whatever it is that you do. So if that's basketball, if that's playing tennis, if that's fucking golfing, if it's motherfucking racing, if it's whatever the sport is, you know, even boxing, let's throw boxing in there, you know what I'm saying? Let's say you boxing with a Richard Mille on. He wants his watches to be able to sustain all of that bumpiness, the all of that friction, all of the movement. He wants his watch to be able to sustain all of that and still meet movement, still within perfect movement and precision timing. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about Richard Mille. So when you're racing, you know, that's nothing but vibration, which if you don't have a nice movement going on with your gears and all that in your watch, all that vibration and shit will fuck the gears up and shit. You know what I mean? If it's too much, you know what I'm saying? For sure. You racing down, you know, you holding on to the steering wheel. Just imagine they going 150, 160 miles per hour. That's a whole lot of vibration, you feel me, that's coming through your hand and going right into that watch, where all them gears and all that shit is helping your watch move. So he specializes in, you know, heavy resistance, heavy world resistance. His watches, he wants his watch to work. You know, anybody that buys his watch, whether you a rapper, tennis player, whatnot, whoever you may be, he wants you to do what you do while wearing this watch. You know what I'm saying? That's his thing. That's his thing when he makes watches. He wants the watch to be able to sustain through what you're doing, whether that be rapping, performing, dancing, you know what I'm saying, playing tennis, swinging, hitting that motherfucking tennis ball, whether you running down the court, bouncing the basketball, all kind of shit. He want that watch to be able to sustain through all that. So materials is important. Titanium is one of the hardest metals. Sustains through heat, cold, and all that type of shit, and still be able to do what it do. It don't really melt. There's meteorite. Meteorite is extra expensive because it's rare. You know what I'm saying? There's a Rolex, it's a white dial, it's a meteorite. And I'll put that up too. Anything I'm talking about, if I find the pics of them, you'll be seeing them and all that type of shit, as you've been seeing if I've been finding them. So but yeah, meteorite. So meteorite is very rare. It's a white dial. Rolex makes it. That watch is very expensive because it's very rare. It was only a few of them made. It's very hard to get your hands on it. That's another thing. AP, they'll often put out watches that is only available to you if you have a repertoire of business with them. So that's another thing with watches. Same shit with supercars. You know what I'm saying? Ferrari is another company, a supercar company, who's very invite only type shit. You know, they'll sell you like a 599 or anything of the older models like that. You know what I mean? But as far as the Parmesan, whatever it is, the SUV thing, you have to have a repertoire of business with Ferrari to buy one of their newer things, one of their newer cars. You feel me? Like a Ferrari Enzo, for a matter of fact. You can't just go buy an Enzo. You know, you have to from Ferrari. Now you can get it from anybody else who may be selling one, but as far as like buying it from the dealership Ferrari, hell no. You gotta have, if you ain't ever had a Ferrari, your Enzo ain't gonna be your first one. If buying it from Ferrari, like I said, you might find that buying from somebody, but as far as like Ferrari, nah, you're not just gonna go buy Enzo. You know what I'm saying? That's just little shit. So AP does little certain things, you know what I'm saying, where you have to have a repertoire business in order to get certain watches. Like for example, the rainbow little thing they did where they had a green one, they had a white one, they had like a pink one. You know, it's all different colored diamonds of style of AP watches. You know what I'm saying? The one that Nico Leonard came at Rick Ross about, saying it was a replica because it was only a certain amount made of each one, and you had to have a repertoire of a business with AP already before you can even buy one of these watches. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's AP. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, I love these watches. I get it from my mama. You know what I'm saying? My mom is very, very much so into watches. It recently hit me later in life, just about maybe a couple of years ago. I was always into watches, but I really dived into them maybe a few years ago, you know what I'm saying? But it definitely comes from my mom's, for sure. But yeah, man, it's all about who you are, you know what I'm saying? It's all about who you are, what your watch means to you, you know what I mean? They say they conversation starters or whatnot. You know, you could have a watch that got a motherfucking dragon sticking up off that motherfucker. You feel me? Motherfuckers walk by and be like, oh, what kind of watch is that? That's exactly the whole point you wearing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Conversation starters, that's one of the old school watch rules. You know what I mean? As far as why you wear a watch and all that, you know, they conversation starters, they say. But yeah, you know, so these is a few of my watches that I have from my collection. These right here is a few of my watches here. This is from my personal collection. This watch right here is what you call let's see the name of this shit. Jin Shindan, Japanese movement. That's what you call a day phase at the top there. That's what I was talking about earlier. It's a day phase. You know what I'm saying? Forgive me for this camera. It's like inverted. It's not like up ain't really up and down ain't really down type shit. So, you know, trying to get it right for you. But yeah, this is called a day phase though. If you can see that at the top where it's blue right there, it's the sun. As the day goes, you know what I'm saying, that will move, and it will be as the day goes, that will move, you know what I'm saying, and it'll turn to the stars and shit, the moon and the stars. That's what you call a day phase. You know what I'm saying? It's also a skeleton dial. This is my Kenyud. God damn it. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. This is my Kenyud watch, automatic tourbillon style. You know what I'm saying? But it's an automatic watch though. As you can see, the little open area there, that's tourbillon style. But it's definitely in automatic. Because if you look at the wheel inside, it's not a ongoing rotation in one direction. It's knocking. You know what I'm saying? It's going back and forth. That's how you can tell the difference between automatic and a tourbillon. Tourbillon is just going to be spinning in one direction. This is my Pagani. This is a skeleton automatic. I don't know if you can see the little wheel knocking in the back there on the side, but yeah, that's my Pagani. This is one of my Invictus. That's a blue one, and then this one was the purple one. The purple one there. This here was that's my first Apple Watch. You know what I'm saying? My first Apple Watch. So I've rocked this watch for a long time. This was Universal Studios, Luigi. You know what I'm saying? That's the watch they give you at Universal Studios. Like I said, man, you know what I mean? It's all about what they mean to you. This was my dad's watch. You know what I'm saying? This is sentimental value. You know what I'm saying? This was my pop's watch. This is a watch he wore every day. This was his everyday watch. I'm talking to work, you know what I'm saying, going to church, everywhere he went. This watch right here was mainly around his wrist for sure. So, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to forever definitely hold that. But yeah, though, put this camera back up here. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? We was gonna talk watches today. This was episode 137. That's all I got for y'all on this watches. I can sit up here and talk 5 hours about motherfucking watches. You feel me? So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I put something in your ear that you learned about a watch today. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you learned something on this shit. Hopefully I taught you something about a watch. You know what I mean? Hopefully I put you up on some watch game. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely one of my passions. I love them. I love the complexity. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. They're very complex to make. They're going to be like little artwork. It's like art, having art on your wrist. You know what I'm saying? It's artwork. So definitely art, the way it's made. Like I said, you can't even just make them with the naked eye. They have to make them under a microscope using little bitty tiny tweezer type, you know what I mean, tools and shit like that, because the pieces and shit, mind you, is so small. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing people don't really think about as far as the watches being made. You know what I'm saying? They got to be made under magnifying glasses with little tiny tools. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, it's Kons podcast though. You know what I'm saying? Complexity is everything in a watch. You know, it's all about what it means to you. You know, it's all about how it look on your wrist. It's all about what it means to you if you like it as a person. Don't let society guide you into buying something that you don't like. You just want to get it because society think it's hot. But yeah, though, I'm gonna conclude this. You know what I mean? This is episode 137. Let's talk watches. You feel me? Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you love this episode. Hopefully you fuck with it. You know what I mean? Hopefully you got an insight on how the fuck I love watches and all that type of shit. If you didn't know, now you know. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's Kons podcast, you know what I mean? Go ahead and subscribe if you don't. If you fuck with this episode, hit the subscribe button. If you like this episode, go tell somebody about it. You know what I'm saying? If you like this episode, hit the share button. Share it on your Facebook. You know? If you like this episode, go tell your moms about it. Feel me? If you like this episode, go tell somebody else that like watches. If you know somebody that's gonna buy a watch this weekend, or they've been looking at one, or they've been thinking about one, or they don't wear watches and they want to get a first watch, man, share this episode with them. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's Kons motherfucking podcast, though. Yeah, you know, hope y'all enjoyed this episode, man. You know what I'm saying? It's episode 137. It's a Friday. I hope all y'all have a good motherfucking weekend. You feel me? I hope you have a good weekend. I hope y'all do whatever it is y'all want to do. It's cold outside. It's raining out here. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you do, I hope you stay warm. I hope you don't catch a cold this weekend and shit. Don't be doing too much outside and all this bad weather. I love this weather, but a lot of y'all call it bad weather. But you know what I mean? But yeah, it's Kons podcast, though. Have a good weekend.
Kons podcast. Like button, subscribe, and share. Constant content. Constant content.
Wait me, don't you?
Kons motherfucking podcast.
Wait me, don't you?
Constant motherfucking content.
Wait me, don't you? 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 Wait me, don't you?